Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. The title of tonight's Starborn show is actually a question, and the question is it a hit or a miss? And that is because the planets are lined up, some of them in a very positive way, so you can have a hit with something, but they're also lined up, others are lined up in a negative way, where you could sort of miss out on something. And so I'll explain your options this week, and you can decide what is better for you. Because what we have this week is we have 3 planets that are in the creative, expressive air signs, and they're all trining each other, which is great. Pluto in Aquarius is trining the Sun, which has now gone into Gemini, and Jupiter there as well. So you could have creative new ideas, the communication could flow, and you could even pick up some new partnerships, or at least start in that direction. Then there are 3 planets that are trining each other in the fire signs. And so fire signs like action. And so Mars in Leo is trining Venus and Neptune in Aries right now. And Aries rules new beginnings. So you could be energized to try to get some new beginning off the ground. So those things are well aspected. Maybe you'll have a real hit of doing something like that. But there are other planets that could set up roadblocks for you. And that's why there's the possibility of a miss as well. And one of them is that there are 4 planets in a harsh square among the mutable signs. And mutable signs are easy to get along with. They can see different people's points of view. And the 4 mutable signs are Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius. All 4 planets are in only 2 of those signs, though. And that is because the moon today is in Pisces, and Saturn is still there as well at the 29th degree, and they are squaring the Sun, which has now entered Gemini, and Jupiter in Gemini as well. So the Sun is squaring the moon. That's not too good. That can lead to indecision or confusion. That might be why you sort of miss out on something. And Saturn is at the 29th degree of fate. And generally that means that something is on or over. And so you may have to deal with that as well. And then there are 4 other planets, and they've been there all month. And they are in a harsh T-cross among the fixed signs. And so Mars in Leo is being opposed by Pluto in Aquarius. Well, Mars is a dynamic, energetic, forceful planet that can indicate aggression or war or greed or jealousy. And in Leo, which rules gambling, it could rule gamblers as well. Or it also rules love affairs, children's affairs, sports, and the whole entertainment industry as well. And that Mars is coming up against Pluto, a planet that represents powerful truth, or deep truth, and it also represents people in upper management in large corporations, government agencies, or institutions, and this planet is in the sign of the future. This would represent new people that are coming along with new ideas, and they want to get those off the ground, and they want to get funding for those as well. These 2 planets are opposing each other, and an opposition represents a separation. So, we could start to see some reasons why there could be a miss somewhere around in your choices this week. Because these 2 planets are being squared by 2 other planets, one of which is a malefic planet. And that is because Mercury and Uranus are both in Taurus. Uranus is a malefic planet ruling volatility, rebellion, and sudden surprising change. And it's in a fixed financial sign. And it is squaring Mars in Leo, which is another malefic planet, and it is also squaring that Pluto in Aquarius. Since Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio, the other fixed financial sign, and they're in opposition to each other, and then Uranus and Mercury in Taurus are squaring both of them, it simply means that if you are a person with a great new idea and you'd like to get it underground, not underground, but on its way, and get it started, you could be looking for money to support that. And the big money would not be there. It's just not going to be there at this time. Those 4 planets have been in those fixed signs all month long, the whole month of May. And they're really not moving. The sun is going to be the fastest mover. It'll move on quickly. But the other planets are sticking around for a while. And so you could make a miss by wanting an idea to generate right now. And there are a couple ways you could miss on that. One of them is you may lack the leadership abilities or results in your own career to warrant some big money coming your way. Or it could be that whatever great idea you haven't gone through any kind of definitive results to prove the idea works. That might be why you want the money, is to start working on that. But I don't think the money's coming right now. And so that's why the question is it a hit? Because it could be a great idea or a journey that you want to take. Or you could be planning your summer vacation right now. But I think you better do it economically. Because no matter what you want to try, which could be a hit right now in one way or another, or at least the start of one, the money really isn't going to be there. At least not the kind of money that you're hoping for. And so you have to take that into consideration is all I'm saying. So when we're asking, is it a hit or a miss? It could almost be a little bit of both. And we'll just have to live with the reality of a situation that is not being clearly defined at this time, which is facing some financial threats and some sort of drawbacks as far as getting along with people. The planets in the fixed signs indicate people have rigid attitudes, and they're not likely to change their minds. That's a little hard to live with. And then the planets that are squaring each other in the mutable signs, meaning that people who normally get along and are pretty easygoing are having trouble doing that right now. And so this is where we are, trying to have a hit, but we have to allow for the fact that there may be a miss along the way too. And just give yourself a little bit more time, or else go back to the drawing board and try to either increase your skills to qualify for a higher position. Maybe you need to go back to school for that, or else maybe you just need to tinker around a little bit more and try some inexpensive way to prove that your idea works before you go and ask for more money. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. For you, Aries, I think this is a time when you really are going to want to get something off the ground. And that is because Venus and Neptune are in your sign. Venus is going to move on because it's a fairly fast mover. It can go through all 12 sun signs in about 8 months. But Neptune, no. Neptune is going to be in your sign for a long time, Aries. It will, both it and Saturn, when Saturn comes into your sign, will be in your sign for years, but this year they're going to retrograde and go back into Pisces very briefly. And then you may as well consider that Neptune's going to be in your sign for a long time, Aries. And so this is a time when you could be kidding yourself about something. And there are dangerous things to watch out for. Because your sign rules the head, you need to be very good to your brain and to your health overall, your mental health. And your mental health is actually ruled by Virgo. But as far as, if a blood clot reaches your brain, it can cause a stroke. And so if you think you need to get a little more exercise and, you need to be a little bit more fit, that would be a good idea right now, Aries. Particularly for all the years that Neptune is in your sign and Saturn is going to join that the 1st of June. And so right at the end of this month, in about another week or so. And when Saturn comes into your sign, you're going to have to get real serious about something. So this is a time when you may want to start something new because your ruler Mars is in Leo trining your sun. And it's trining Venus, so you could be popular. And it is also trining that Neptune. The real danger in any success right now is are you well enough prepared for it? And do you have the money to back up whatever you want to do? That is a question that you'll have to sort of answer for yourself, Aries. But I would urge you to make sure that you're in pretty good shape no matter what you want to do, particularly this summer, whether you're going back to school or you're going on a trip or taking a vacation or starting a new project or a new job. Just make sure that you are able to handle the stress of any changes that are coming up, because stress management is going to have to be a high priority for you for the next few years. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus. This is a time, Taurus, once again, I mean, you might feel as if you're really stuck in some situation that is making you uncomfortable, Taurus. And the reason why is that there has been a harsh T-cross, and actually last week it was a harsh Grand Cross in the fixed signs, and yours is a fixed sign. So you have had the Sun and Uranus in your sign. Uranus has been in your sign for 6 years. The Sun has been in there since the time of the new moon in your sign at the end of April. And it's still there. It is now closely conjuncting that Uranus. So, Taurus, there could be a sudden change in your life at any time now. And it could involve a financial matter. And because yours is a financial sign. And Mars in Leo is squaring that Uranus. These are two malefic planets, pretty much up to no good. And so there can be jealous or vindictive or very competitive forces that are around you, Taurus. And it could be not aimed directly at you. It could be that there are competitive forces involving the investments that you have, because your sign rules your investments. And then Pluto in Aquarius, which represents new entrepreneurs or people in upper management that want to go forward in the future. That planet is squaring the two planets in your sign as well. And Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio, the other fixed financial sign, which the planets in your sign are opposing. You know. So Taurus, it looks to me like you want something your way, and you feel justified in that. And if it's expensive, you either think you can afford it or you think you know where you can get the money, one or the other. But I would say that financial issues are going to be more difficult for you than you realize. And it isn't necessarily for something that you're doing, Taurus. It's for the things that are happening around you that you can't discount them, because they're pretty important too. And so, Taurus, you have to be real sure about the direction you want to go in. And the question for you really is what you want to do going to be a hit, or is it going to be a miss? And you have to really examine, when you're trying to answer that question, before you make a move at all, Taurus, you have to take a look around at the whole picture of what you want, what you want, and who else it involves, and what else it involves. You need to get a much broader view of the effect that any future actions on your part, how they're going to affect others. Because, you know, the aspects are not harmonious to your sun sign right now, and there's no backup to your sun sign. Once again, there's nothing in Virgo, and there's nothing in Capricorn to support your sign. I would be very cautious about anything that you want to do right now, Taurus, not because you don't know what you're doing or you don't know where you want to go, but because you can be very unsure of how your actions will affect others right now. And you may not be prepared for what their reactions would be. You may be thinking one way and not even guessing that somebody else is thinking in a completely different way. And you may not find that out until you try something, and then it would be a little bit too late for you to change. That's why I'm saying back off a little bit right now and think over what you want to do. And one question you can get answered, Taurus, is you can get answered, in your mind, you could say, well, what if this scenario happens? How would I feel about that? Or if I make a move, how will it affect this over here, or this group over here? Or how will it affect my plans, my home, my family, my career aspirations? You can get all the answers to how it would affect you, Taurus. You just have no idea how any actions of yours are going to affect other people. And I would say it would be a sort of an unpleasant surprise right now. You're the one that would be unpleasantly surprised at the reactions of others. So I wouldn't make a move right now if I were you, Taurus, but you could mentally sort of lay out different scenarios and ask yourself how you feel about that. That may give you more clarity, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini. Well, I said that one of the problems is that there are 4 planets in the mutable signs that are all squaring each other, and yours is a mutable sign, Gemini. And so you have the Sun, which has just come into your sign, and Jupiter, but they are being squared by the Moon today and by Saturn in Pisces. The Moon and the Sun are almost exactly square each other because the Sun is at 1 degree in your sign, and the Moon is at 2 degrees in Pisces. The Moon's a fast mover, though. It won't stay there. But anyway, a Sun-Moon square or opposition is an indication of indecision or confusion. And so you may be feeling that. And if you're pretty clear in what you want to do, Gemini, but you can be feeling some indecision around you, you should take note of that for sure. But one of the good things, Gemini, that you have going for you for years to come is that Pluto is in Aquarius and it's trining your Sun. So even when the Sun and Jupiter finally leave your sign, Pluto is always going to be trining your Sun for at least, I think, 15 to 17 years in Aquarius. And that represents people, maybe with new ideas, maybe even younger people, that want to go into the future and may want to take you with them, Gemini. And so I hope that you are open to new ideas right now. Generally, a Gemini is, because your sign rules communication, and it rules conversation, and it rules buying and selling, and advertising and marketing, and it rules the whole retail field. So I think that you're in a pretty good position to know what you want to do, Gemini, but other people can be undecided about what they want to do. And so I don't think everyone is in total agreement with you right now. And so the question is, what are you going to do? Are you going to try to get everybody on board right now? I wouldn't do that. Give other people a little time to sort of get used to a new idea before you try to get them to follow you. Because in the meantime, there are people that are pretty high up that are interested in your ideas. And they are the ones you should be aiming for right now. You should go to people who are in charge of something and talk to them about your ideas. They would likely be very favorably impressed by your ideas. Now, I said there's not going to be a lot of big money around for anybody's great ideas right now, but you have to get the approval first before you even get the money. And so you should think, take one step at a time, Gemini. Get people on board first. Then you could ask for some money. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer. This is a time, Cancer, when you can be thinking a lot about home and family and what you want to do on your summer vacation, or how you can be planning for easy summer activities, even with just your friends and your neighbors. And the reason why is because the Moon today is in Pisces, and the Moon is your ruler, Cancer. It is trining your Sun. That's always good. And then Saturn is also in Pisces at the 29th degree of fate, and it too is trining your Sun. And so, Cancer, behind the scenes, there can be something that you've had on your mind for a long, long, long time. Now, it could be something that was a goal or a dream of yours, or something you'd been wishing for, or it can be a problem that's been around for a long time, but you've wanted to keep it behind the scenes because it is a problem, and you haven't wanted other people to maybe know about that too much. So, because Pisces can rule things that are confined or hidden as well. But Saturn is up at the 29th degree of fate right now, Cancer. There's something that you almost can't get over. You have to face it. And it's been around a long time, and you know it. And so, is it something that you've been kidding yourself about? Or is it something that is like a dream or a goal that you think is pretty important to you, and you're sort of getting the idea that it's now or never as far as going for it? Well, that could sure be true, because Saturn is leaving by the end of the month. It'll be in Aries, starting in June. And so a chance at something that you had maybe been thinking about for a very long time is that chance is going to be pretty much over pretty quick. And if it is over now, then you've missed it already. Or else it's getting ready to see, Saturn's getting ready to leave. So maybe something, if it's a problem that you've had, sort of an on and off problem that you've had for as long as 12 years, because that's how long, no, not Saturn, Neptune was in Pisces for 12 years, but Saturn's been in Pisces for 2.5 to 3 years. And you could have had something, either that it had to be some sort of a burden or worry or doubt, Saturn rules doubt, that has been around for the last 2.5 to 3 years behind the scenes. And either you've been thinking about that, or it's been hanging on. It could be a health problem, or it could just be something that was very serious, but you didn't want it to come out in the open, and now, Cancer, you'll have to face it. It could be, as I said, a health condition. Maybe it is that you are thinking of a different career, or you're thinking of going in a different direction, or maybe you're thinking of managing your money in different ways, because your sign, trine's the sign of Scorpio, and the sign of Scorpio is getting hit by 4 other planets in fixed signs. It's been going on all month, and it rules money coming in from any other source. And maybe there has been a financial matter that's been dragging on for years that you need to get solved. And maybe now it's going to get solved, but maybe it's going to take you being a little tougher about it in order to get it solved. Saturn is a pretty tough planet, and it's trining your sun. So maybe you're going to have to conclude something, or wipe it off the books, or just end it somehow, because it's going to move on, and when Saturn moves into Aries, it'll square your sun. I would not let a problem go that long, and Saturn's going to enter Aries in about another week or week and a half. There's some problem that is really going to be a bad miss, and in others you'll miss your opportunity to solve it if you don't solve it now, Cancer. And so you need to get on it, and you've got about a week or a week and a half to do that, and get it off, get rid of it. In other words, even if you can't solve the problem, you have to end it in one way or another. And so try that. If it's a health problem, okay, try to get a little better, handle your health a little bit better. That'll benefit you. And if it's some other problem, like a financial problem, you sort of have to get the monkey off your back. You just have to get rid of that, because you won't be able to go on until that's solved. And that's because the past is holding you back. And you've kept it sort of quiet. But you really have to say goodbye to that in order to have a future, Cancer. You can't have both. You can't have one foot stuck in the past and another trying to reach out for the future. Nobody can do that. And the reason why is time only moves forward. It does not move backward. Unless you choose to do that. Unless you choose to stay in the past. And I wouldn't do that if I were you, Cancer. The rest of the world is going forward. You should too. So good luck. All right. What does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when you can be perplexed by situations around you or people around you that are not to your liking. Mars is in your sign. It's been in your sign all month. I mean, you could be a little bit grumpy, or else you could be sort of mad at the way other people are treating you, or about the way some things have turned out. You could certainly be anxious about your financial matters right now, because it looks like you do have a financial problem, Leo. Now, it doesn't mean that Leos don't have money, or that they don't have good jobs, or something like that. It means that the value of your investments can be fluctuating, and if you're depending on any income from that, then you could be pretty upset or nervous about the fact that your income is going up and down. No one wants it to go down, but that could have been happening. In fact, it could have been happening for years now. Uranus has been in Taurus squaring your sun for 6 years, and there could have been some wild fluctuations in your financial condition in the last 6 years. And if not in the money that's coming in, it could be in your expenses and the money that's been going out. And and if you took a gamble on anything, you would have lost. And oddly enough, it could be if you took a gamble to win a lot of money, but you only got this much money instead of that much money, then you lost what you thought you were going to get, even if you did win some. And the question is, if it was a lesser amount, can you live on that? Or can you pay your bills on that? Or can you pay the taxes on that? Something is amiss financially in your life, Leo. And I think that it may not be your fault. It may just be that financial conditions are strained and the big money isn't around anywhere. You know, people could be making promises about money. That doesn't mean it's in your lap or in your bank account. And there are things that are stopping others because of this horrible T-cross and Grand Cross in the fixed signs that's been going on all month. Now, Pluto in Aquarius is going to be opposing your sun sign for years to come. And so people in upper management in new endeavors or in things that are ahead of their time are going to pass you by, Leo. And I think that would be all right with you as long as you could still be a leader in some other occupation of your own choice. Leaders Leos like to be leaders. They don't like to take orders. They like to give them. And so maybe it's better that you take advantage of the grand trine in the fire signs now, which is existing. Mars in Leo is trining Venus and Neptune in Aries. And soon Saturn will go into Aries, and it will be trining Saturn too. And so there can be some long delayed new start that you want to make. And even if it's not quite the wonderful big thing that you were dreaming of, it would still be a start. It would still be going in the right direction, and you'd still be ahead of it. Think about it, Leo. Get yourself ready for some sort of new commitment. Because Saturn does rule commitment, and it's going to be trining your sun for 2 or 3 years once it gets in Aries. So I think you should look ahead, but not with rose-colored glasses on. You should look ahead at what you want and what it's going to take for you to get there. So just concentrate on your own future, Leo, not on anybody else's right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time, Virgo, when there are 2 planets still in Taurus trining your sun. That is the Sun and Uranus. They're both in late degrees of Taurus. So I think that the Sun is at 20 degrees of Taurus today, and Uranus is at 26 degrees of Taurus. So they're conjuncting. And that's a lot of light conjuncting a very unstable planet, but they're both trining your sun, Virgo. Good for you. That means out of the blue, there could be a little more money coming your way. Maybe some investment is paying off. It would be better if you were selling something, though, right now, because, you know, what goes up can also go down. If you are thinking that you would be better at handling your own money yourself, then it might be a good idea to sell something and just put the money in your own pocket, Virgo. Even if you don't do anything with it, but just save it or invest it a little bit safely, like in a CD or something, that would be fine for right now. The world is not quite settled, particularly not financially or psychologically. In other words, there is the threat of war. We can already see war in one area of the world, but there's a threat of another war in another part of the world. And so, you know, people can be a little bit distrustful about what's going to be happening in the future. That's why this is a time when you need to be asking yourself about anything that you're doing. Is it going to be a hit or is it going to be a miss? And you have to ask yourself how you feel about it. If it is a miss, how are you going to feel about it? If you think you're going to feel real bad, then don't go that route. Maybe you have to stay on the safe side, Virgo. Maybe it's just better if you don't do anything right now, but if I were you, I would gather my resources a little closer to you. In other words, if you have property or you have income coming in from sources that you think are pretty stable, I would still draw that closer to you, either by selling the property or by getting some very valid contract signed in case there's a change in the money. Because remember, big money will not be around, not even for great new ideas. It's not going to happen while this horrible T-cross or Grand Cross is occurring in the fixed signs, because the two financial signs are fixed. And they're sort of at war with each other right now, Taurus and Scorpio, and their rulers. And that's why things are a little iffy. And Virgos worry about the smallest things. And so you've got to make sure that what is yours is really pretty close to you, Virgo, and really is yours. And that's enough for right now. You don't need to share anything. You just need to draw it closer to you. Keep it. And just be careful. It doesn't matter what good advice anybody else tells you. Your sign rules accounting. Whatever you have, it's pretty secure when it's in your hands, Virgo. You know where every penny is, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when you can benefit. Remember, I said there are 3 planets in the air signs, and they're trining each other, and they are all trining your sign, Libra, which doesn't have any planets in it. But Pluto in Aquarius is trining your sun, and the sun is today, and Jupiter are both in Gemini, and they're trining your sun. So that's pretty good, Libra, because that simply means that there can be people that are in upper management that have their eyes on the future. That's Pluto in Aquarius, and they may be wanting to change their management a little bit. Pluto is retrograde, and so they can be sort of shifting people around in their management structure, and they may be looking at you, Libra, to add to their management structure. That is perfectly possible right now. And so I'm not talking about big money. I don't think it's around for anybody right at the moment. It doesn't mean it couldn't come in the future. But it's one thing to make a promise, and it's another to have it in your hand. And, there's an old saying, don't count it till it's in your hand. And so, Libra, if somebody is approaching you about making some sort of new partnership or joining a new staff or something like that, I would not only listen to that. Right now, Libra, I would say yes. You should say yes and give it a try. I don't think you have anything to lose, and at the moment, nothing would be stopping you. I think you could do that pretty easily. And you would get cooperation from others, because the Sun and Jupiter in Gemini are trining your Sun. There could be a sort of a short-term way or a temporary or part-time way that you could take on a new duty or a new role and sort of ease your way into it, and that would be favorable. Maybe you don't have to give up your current job in order to get a new one. Maybe you could do part of one and part of the other. Because that's what Gemini rules, and the Sun and Jupiter are there trining your Sun. And so I think that you should try to make the most of even a small offer that comes your way right now, Libra, and say yes, because you have nothing to lose. The reason why I suggest you do that, don't even sit on the fence and say, oh, I need to think about it. Just say yes. That's good enough for now. And the reason why you should do that now is because there are already 2 planets in Aries, Venus, your own ruler, and Neptune, and they are opposing your sun sign. And in about another week or 10 days, Saturn will go into Aries and be opposing your sun sign for 2.5 to 3 years. And that's going to slow things down. So if you get a good offer, don't sit on the fence. Take it. Just take it. And you may be very glad you did. And it might be just a small offer, but I would take it. It would have the possibility of growing. Pluto is going to be trining your Sun for years, and that represents people in upper management that would like you. So I don't think you have anything to fear by trying on something new, even if it's just part-time. I wish you'd try it. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time, Scorpio, when, you know, it's almost the same old song that they've been playing all month, Scorpio. Troubles with money, troubles with partnerships, troubles with control issues or leadership issues. Certainly trouble with debt or with credit or insurance problems or inheritance or money coming in with grants or going out with grants. And so the reason why is that's what your sign rules, Scorpio, and it also rules the whole field of medicine, and it rules the military. And so it rules war, and it rules justice and survival. And I mean, you've been facing challenges all month, Scorpio. You could not be a happy camper. And the reason why is that even though there's still one planet in Pisces, which is Saturn, trining your sun at the 29th degree of fate, it simply means that behind the scenes, this is a do or die time when you have really got to make the right choice, Scorpio. And should you miss that, it's not coming back. So either you're going to make the right choice for you, you have to think about it, you make the right choice for you, or the decision that you need to make that you have been thinking about for years, or else you're going to miss it. Now you may, as you're thinking about it, you may decide to let it go. You might miss it, and that could represent some sort of victory because you could have made up your mind, okay, this isn't good enough, or this isn't what I really want, or there's nothing new here, and you could decide to let it go. But that might be a hit. That might be the right decision. So you're gonna have some sort of hit or miss chance right now, Scorpio, behind the scenes, to make a decision that has been sort of hanging at least for the last 2.5 to 3 years, because that's how long Saturn's been in Pisces. And you can either say, okay, this is everything I want, or you could say, no, it's not good enough, and let it go. Or you could say, no, if it is connected in any way to the past, it is certainly not the right direction for you to go in, Scorpio, because time moves forward, not backward. So every day when we get up in the morning, it's a new opportunity to live and to live a better life. Okay, that's every day. There's 365 of those every year. And everybody has that opportunity. But if you choose to go back to the past and live in the past and never change, I would wonder why. Your sign rules survival. You don't survive by going backwards, Scorpio. You survive by going forward into tomorrow and living. Not going through the motions with something tied to the past, but living a new life in each new day. That's how we all survive. And so I hope, Scorpio, that you make a choice right now that is, it'll be strictly your own choice. And try to think about it and give yourself a good reason for it, or a reason why it's not exactly what you want, and let it go. And I think it will all be based on your own lifestyle choices, or what really makes you happy. And different things make us happy at different times in our life. So Scorpio, whatever you decide at this time in your life, I hope you make the right decision. And I think that it's about time for you to do that. I don't see how you can get away from that right now. So it's hit or miss. Good luck, Scorpio. Just be honest with yourself first. That's the most important thing. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius. This is a time, Sagittarius, when I think for sure you're going to want to get up and go. And the reason why is that there's 3 planets in the fire signs, and they're all trining your sign. So Mars is in Leo, but it's trining your sign. And so even if you were having problems with love affairs or financial matters or children's issues or sports things in any way or some sort of a gamble, you could find a way to work that out a little bit right now, Sagittarius, because Mars is trining your sun. And then Venus and Neptune in Aries are also trining your sun. There could be somebody approaching you, Sagittarius, who has a great new idea. And they could be selling it because they're so much in favor of it, and they may want you to join them in it. And, you know, I would say, give it a little extra thought, Sagittarius. First of all, you have a very good mind. Yours is an intellectual sign. And so just give it a little more thought before you say yes to something new. And the reason why is that they themselves could be kidding themselves. In other words, they could tell you the high points of a great deal that you should be taking right now, or joining a great effort, or investing in some great idea. And they could paint the most beautiful picture you ever saw about that. That's why you need to slow down and think about it, Sagittarius, because they might be kidding themselves and inadvertently kidding you too, and not intentionally. But if they are not if they don't have a firm grasp of the facts, then when they're talking to you, you're not going to have a firm grasp either. And that could lead to something you might regret. And that is why you need to slow down and think about something carefully. Now, if you have more questions and they can furnish you with even more information showing that they have a well thought out idea and they're coming up with good answers, then that is probably something that you should take advantage of, Sagittarius. It's just that you really need to think about it first, and you need to test them to see if they have covered all of their bases before you join them. And if they have, then that might be a really good deal, something rather solid. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn. This is a time, Capricorn, when you do have the planets in Taurus still trining your sun, which means the sun and Uranus are trining your sun. And so that is nice right now, Capricorn. But on the other hand, your ruler, Saturn, is at the 29th degree of Pisces. It's still sextiling your sun, but it is just about to enter Aries. And it will do that right at the end of the month or June 1st. It's coming right up. And then it will begin to square your sun. And so you need to ask yourself if you're well enough prepared to start something new. Are you, Capricorn? Do you have all your ducks in a row? Do you have the money to pay for everything? If you do, if you're thinking that you want to go on a trip this summer, or you are wanting to start some professional new endeavor, or you wanting to just start a new job, even if it's just part-time. As long as you're really careful and have everything well planned, and you're very well prepared to do whatever you're thinking of, then go right ahead. But if you are at the what if I want to start something new stage, and you're thinking that it's going to be an easy uphill climb, I doubt it. And the reason why is that, yes, Saturn is still sextiling your sun, but only for a very short time, maybe another 10 days. And that's it. Then it's going to move into a square of your sun sign. And new beginnings will be a little difficult to get off the ground. Now, this may not bother a Capricorn because your sign rules time. And Capricorns like to just move gradually along, take one step at a time, and be thoroughly prepared. So that may not bother you if you're thinking about starting something new and you haven't done it, but you've been thinking about it for a long time, Capricorn. Why don't you go ahead and just take one step at a time? You do have the planets in Taurus trining your sun. I think if it involves some sort of financial investment or a cost to getting something started, I think you can afford it, Capricorn. It's not the money that's bothering you. It's whether you can succeed according to your expectations. And Capricorns have high expectations of themselves. They're hard workers. They keep after it too. If something goes wrong and they have to go back and do something again, they do it. And so if you were just very patient with yourself and you wanted to start something new, and you have the money for it, and you've been thinking about it, but you haven't done it yet, I would say you might have a hit going, but it could turn into a little bit of a miss if you wait too long, because the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be to get started. That's why it would be a good idea to get it started now. While the planets in Taurus are still trining your sun, and Saturn in your own rulers, it's still in Pisces sextiling your sun. Take a first step, Capricorn. Won't hurt you. You can afford it. It may not even be a question of how much something's going to cost right now, but just, do you have the time to do it? Do you have your schedule organized enough? Capricorns are very organized. So why don't you take a look, Capricorn, at something that you've been thinking about for a long time that you'd like to start, and why don't you just take that first step right now? One would lead to another. Even if it was slowly, that wouldn't bother a Capricorn. Slow is fine with them. You got all the time in the world. But not to put something off. You either are going to have a chance to do it, and that'll be a hit, even if you're just starting, or you're going to miss it. And that chance may not, the conditions may not be as right going forward as they are now. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time when you have, you're going to have the option, Aquarius, for a hit and a miss. And I think there's both are going to be on the table, Aquarius. I don't see how you're going to get around it. The hit comes from the fact that there is a trine in the air signs, remember? It's Pluto in your sign, which is trining the sun today, and Jupiter in Gemini, and they are both trining the sign of Libra as well. So communication, particularly about new ideas or drawing new people to you, sort of to help you with a project or an idea that you have, or some sort of plan that you have. If you are looking for other people to sort of come on board, even if it's only part-time, you could find them right now. Gemini rules part-time things. And they could be younger people. Maybe they're just looking for a part-time job, or looking for some part-time experience that they can build their resume with. So it's sort of like a volunteer experience. You could find a person like that right now. That would be a hit. And that would eventually lead to a very good partnership. Because remember, Pluto in your sign is going to be trining both Gemini and Libra for many, many years to come. And so, you know, if you take baby steps, you'd still be going up, Aquarius, and that's good. But would the big money be there? No. And the reason why is it's not going to be anywhere right now. You know, there could be promises of big money, but the stuff that you can actually put in your hand and count, not right now. And that is because Mars is in Leo opposing Pluto in your sign. The pressure will be a little less once Mars gets out of Leo, but it's there right now. And Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio, meaning it can be a little hard to come up with extra money right now for something. So I hope you have some of your own ready that you can spend instead, which I think you probably do have, Aquarius. And then Uranus and the Sun in Taurus are squaring your Sun, and Uranus is your own ruler. You may be used to that by now because it's been squaring your Sun for 6 years. So that's why I think the big money isn't going to be there. But you know, people need more than money to be successful. They need the right people in the right spots. They need the team. You know, what good is a captain without a team? And so we need the team. We need people, even if it's only part-time or on a volunteer basis, we need helping hands in order to succeed. And that is what you can get now. So that would be a hit. But if you were going after big money, I would say that you have not developed your ideas well enough and have some proven results of them in order to attract big money. So that's why I don't think that's coming right now. So a hit and a miss. But I think you're going to be further along with your hit. And so I encourage you to try that. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces. This is a time, Pisces, when it's a little bit like the same with Scorpio, sort of do or die. And all I'm referring to is a sort of a last chance to make a decision that you have had plenty of time to think about, Pisces. And it's, you know, people who can be wanting to do something very badly, but they're a little bit shy, so they don't talk about that. Or it can be that they're afraid of asking for something and being turned down, so they don't ask. And so they sort of build up a little shell of fear around them. And I hope you're not doing that, Pisces, because that is not the way to live, either in the future or the past. That's just stagnation. That doesn't get anybody anywhere. And so what you need to do is, since Saturn is the only planet that is left in your sign right now, Pisces, and it's at the 29th degree of fate, and it's going into Aries by next week, a week or 10 days, it'll be in Aries. It's a very slow mover. It really is at the 29th degree, but very slowly getting into Aries. You need to decide once and for all, Pisces, what you're going to do about something that you have thought about for a long time. And since your Saturn rules doubt, and your sign rules limitations and fears, you need to face your fears, Pisces. I suggest you swallow them, or get over them, or don't let anybody else know what they are. Excuse me. Because fear does not make the world go round, Pisces. Love does. You know that. And so you can't be afraid of trying new things. You have to go for it. Your own ruler is already in Aries. And it'll briefly retrograde back into your sign this year, but it's going to be in Aries for years, the sign of new beginnings. You will have to go forward, Pisces. And the point is that whoever has been waiting around for you to make up your mind about something, did you really think they were going to wait forever, Pisces? They're not. When Saturn leaves, they leave. I guarantee you. They're going to want it to try something new. And if they've been waiting for you because you're their first choice and you're not saying anything, they'll go find somebody else. You know, time moves forward. You don't need to be frozen with inner fear. You don't need me to be scared about something, Pisces. Because, Pisces, sometimes our fears get bigger than we are. And they control us. And they shouldn't do that. And we shouldn't allow it. You can't let your fear make you afraid of living or loving. Because the reward in life comes from sharing. You know, like I said last week, people are not robots. We're meant to share. And if it's sharing and you have somebody in mind and you don't say anything or you don't do anything about that, you've let your fears conquer you. Well, whose life do you think that's going to shorten, Pisces? It'll at least shorten the love that you'd be perhaps longing for all your life if you don't move forward and say what's in your heart. You know, what would be worse? Being afraid of not being accepted or being rejected? Well, you know, just about everybody in the world can get over rejection. But if we let fear mount us and envelop us, then we're stopping ourselves. And that's a sin. We're all meant to live, Pisces. And it's with others. And so you need to make sure that you get out there, you let the world know you're alive, and if you're afraid of being rejected, well, everybody in the world faces rejection one way or another. I mean, it doesn't matter what age you are, we all face that sooner or later. That doesn't need to stop us. Because if one door closes, another one is always going to open, Pisces. You know that because yours is a double-bodied sign. So what's stopping you? That's what I'm wondering. I wish you the best, Pisces. But if you have a choice between a hit or a miss, I think I'd move over into the hit column, Pisces, and really go for something that is your heart's desire. Speak up and do it. You would be opening the doors to your own paradise, one that is shared. The idea is to share. So I hope you do that. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, and thanks for the new subscribers. And I also want to thank the viewers who stuck with me through this a little cold that I had for a long time. Well, it wasn't a cold. The doctor said it was bronchial pneumonia. And so I didn't sound too good. I apologize for that, but we're all over that now. Everything is fine. And I want to thank you for sticking with me. That was very nice of you. And so I look forward to seeing you next week right here for STARBORN. Bye.